Hey y'all, my name is Cassie and I am the creator of Pieces of Scrap, and in today's video we're going to be doing a little bit of an exciting video because I am due to have a market today. We are going to Freedom Over Crockett and it's a 4th of July celebration, hence my Patriot Popsicle-esque shirt. Anyway, I have all of the stuff I'm bringing with me tomorrow behind me. I've already done inventory, but I wanted to show you guys a couple things that are new to this market. So first off, you might have noticed there's a new puppy in the background. My Piper, she passed away 2 Mondays ago and we picked up this puppy. Her name is Rhea. The week after. We were on vacation out of state and Piper had a couple of seizures and she kept having seizures, and when we brought her to the emergency vet, her temperature was high enough that she could have sustained brain damage, so we ended up putting her down. We came home and then we got ourselves a border collie puppy. So she is definitely full of energy and we're not used to that. So it's been a little bit of a struggle to keep her entertained constantly, but I think we're kind of getting into the flow of when she kind of gets tuckered out and needs a nap and so on. Anyway, we're going to be taking her to the market with us today. She's going to tag along because we don't want to leave her in her crate for a long time. Anyway, so I have some new things to show you. I ended up making these little mystery boxes, and they're technically not boxes, they're like tennis ball tubes. But anyway, everything up is in wrapped up inside of here so that you can't really see what it is, but on the tag itself it tells you what you can expect in this tube and then the price on the outside. And I've made 5 of these, so got little stickers at the top with my color and a flower and just a bunch of these mystery tubes. And these are all items that typically just I haven't sold any of, or they don't sell very well, or I haven't sold any in a long time. So I figured I'd put them in a mystery box and discount them quite a bit, and then this way I can move some of that merchandise and hopefully make some profit off of that merchandise that has just been sitting around for a long time. Other than that, everything that I have is stuff that you guys have seen. If you have watched all of my recent videos, I have like tests, pattern tests that I've done. I've got the review videos, all of those guys are in here, and I've actually not had a market for a while. I think my last market was in February, so I had a lot of inventory pricing to do. I had a lot of like backed up inventory pricing and tagging that I had to do yesterday, so I'm glad that that's all over. It took a very long time, and then once I was finished I was like, well, I've got all this stuff that never really sells and I need to do something with. So one of my other ideas was to give some of those things away as like free gifts when somebody makes a big purchase or something like that. But for right now I'm gonna not do that. I'm gonna see how these mystery boxes do, and then if they do well I'll make more of them with the stock that I have, and then if they don't work out I'll end up making them free gifts. But really I just wanted to like see if this does well, and if it doesn't I'll just give them away. Anyway, so I'm excited for today's market. I recently just got back from vacation, like I was saying. I was gone from June 15th until I got back on June 24th, so I was gone for quite a long time. But I'm back now, got a new puppy, trying to get back into the swing of things at home, and like keeping up with lawn maintenance is really hard right now because Texas heat, the grass just like thrives up here, so our yard is a little bit chaotic right now. So trying to keep up with that, trying to keep up with our garden because we haven't been able to harvest in a while. I haven't felt the need to do a mock setup just because this market's going to be a kind of small one, and I'm not planning to bring all of my inventory. Really all I'm bringing is my plushies and then keychains and earrings, accessories, stuff like that. I am not going to bring hats or bags or anything like that. The setup will be mostly the same as it was in my last market, if you saw that video. However, there just won't be bags displayed. And I think what I might do with my earring display is I might put keychains and maybe the turtle shells for my customizable turtles on there, and then see how that does. I might not even put out earrings at this market, we'll see. And then the biggest thing is it's gonna be a really hot day today. This is an afternoon market. It starts at like 5:30 or 5 o'clock or something like that. We're gonna head out at 3 so that we can get set up. Might try to head out a bit earlier than that just because we have the puppy and I don't know how distracting that might be. But other than that, really excited for today's market. I'm sure it'll be awesome. There's like music playing at the pavilion near us. We're not under the pavilion, but we're next to the pavilion. So there's music, and then there is, you know, some prizes and stuff for that because there's a parade, and the parade gets led to the park that the vendor event is in. And then after all the music and all that, it's like it runs from 5 o'clock to 8:30. After 8:30, there's a fireworks show. So we might stick around for that, we might not. But the vendor event like officially ends at 8:30, so I don't even know if they'll let us stick around and like have our booth open at that point. We'll see. But anyway, really excited for today, and I will check back in with you guys when we're setting up at the event. All right, we're all set up, and I actually picked the wrong spot. We're supposed to be like 2 spaces over from where we are, but it wasn't super clear. And Rhea's having a good time. She's just hanging out and dipping herself in the water occasionally, not on purpose. But yeah, it's a hot one. We're done setting up an hour early. So I don't know if anybody's gonna come around anytime soon, but we'll be here. Rhea, are you trying to go swimming? Are you trying to go swimming? Hey guys, so I am at $235 right now. It is 7 o'clock, so there's an hour left in the event, and we're doing pretty good, considering I only paid $30 in booth fees. So. All right, we're home. It's been a long afternoon. I will check in with you guys tomorrow with how the event went. Hey y'all, so it is Tuesday now. The event was on Saturday. I took a couple days to kind of recuperate. Sunday night I took inventory and after inventory after the market to make sure I had everything that I should have. And then yesterday I took a minute after work and I reconciled my transaction list to make sure everything checks out. And I do have lots of red here. As you can see, this is the bottom of my transaction list, and I had a couple errors. And luckily, my gross profit at the end of the day was higher than I expected it to be based on my transaction list. So overall, I'm very happy about that. I suspected that some people may have stolen some things. However, it seems like it all worked out. I have more money than I should have, so that's all good in my court. Anyway, I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about this event. This was Freedom Over Crockett, and it is an annual event. However, this event hadn't, at least in my knowledge, had vendors at it before. In the past, there's always been a parade and fireworks, but I'm not sure if there's ever been vendors in the past. After COVID, the parade and fireworks paused for a couple years, and then it picked up at least last year. So this is the first year that I'm aware of actually had vendors at this event, and it was a pretty packed event for being such a small town. Crockett, Texas is probably about 7,000 people, and it's in Houston County. Houston, Texas, like the city, is not in Houston County, in case you were curious about that. But we're in Houston County. There's a bunch of small towns in Houston County, and so it was like everybody from neighboring towns, like smaller towns, came to Crockett, it seemed like, to see the fireworks. And it also seemed like people throughout the day were coming to the event, leaving for a little bit, and then coming back later because it was such a long event. It started at like 5 o'clock was the parade, and then fireworks didn't start until 9:15, and there were like 2 or 3 different sets of fireworks that went off with some time in between. So it was quite a long event. My husband and I got there at about 2:30 and started setting up. It was very hot at that point. We didn't have to be finished setting up until 4:30, but because we took our puppy with us, we were a little, or at least I was a little concerned that it would take us more time than usual to get everything set up. I also didn't realize until we got there and started setting up that I left my end table at home, and I also left the wooden shelf, like tiered shelf that my husband made me at home, because they're in my bedroom here, stacked on top of each other. So of course I left them both here. So my display looked a little different than it usually does, but it was the still same general idea. I just felt like I was lacking some space in terms of where things could go. I think at my last market, which was actually the Stetsy Spring Market in April or March, I can't quite remember when it was, I had so much on my table that people were kind of reluctant to like pick things up. It looks really pretty with all the layers of plushies, but it's really easy for people to like knock things over and mess up and so on. So I want to get like homes for everything. I've seen people get a bunch of the tiered shelves and like fruit or vegetable racks to put things in those little baskets. But I've also been looking at these wire mesh that have like 4 tiers of shelving, and then at the top they have a pegboard so you can put keychains and stuff up there. I think that might be really helpful, especially if I get like 1 or 2 of those. I think it will also save some table space, because the issue that I run into all the time with having this white little end table over here is that it takes up too much leg room, so my husband and I can't get around the table. At my last market, if you might have remembered, I had it like at the front of my booth, in a corner that wasn't occupied by anything, which was fine. It looked really good. It was just also, it's just kind of cumbersome to carry that thing around. It's heavy, it's made of like all wood. I need things that can be collapsible and take up the least amount of space so that getting them in and out of the truck is easy and getting set up is easy, and just overall carrying things, it's not as heavy. Anyway, on to the reason you guys are probably watching. You wanted to see how I did at my market. So looking at my spreadsheet, you can see that I had $536 in gross sales. I will say that I had some trouble reconciling, because when I totaled my cash in my transaction list, I ended up having $444 of cash sales, and that wasn't matching up to how much I counted in my cash box. I had $506 in my cash box, which meant that there was a $62 difference in what I had recorded in my transaction list and what I actually had, which meant I missed some transactions or I miscounted my cash box to begin with. So I went through and I reconciled my inventory, and then I marked anything that looked like it wasn't correct. So I was comparing my pre-market inventory list and my post-market inventory list, and I saw 3 different discrepancies. The first was my Mabel chickens. I had only recorded that I sold 3 Mabel chickens, but I actually should have sold 5 because I had 14 left and I started with 19. So I was going back through my transaction list, and I actually noticed that I marked somebody had only bought 1 Mabel chicken and a mini cow when they actually bought 2 Mabel chickens and a mini cow. There was another transaction that I actually recall pretty vividly because the interaction was memorable. So I remember that person also bought a Mabel chicken as well as a mini goat, which was also not on the transaction list. So I was able to write that down and add that into my total. That's $26 that I made up right there, plus another $16 for a Mabel chicken that I missed. And then I also had a discrepancy with my mini chubby dinos. I started with 17 and I have 13 now, which means I should have sold 4. So it doesn't make sense that in my transaction list it says I sold 3, so I must have missed writing down one of those as well. So I added a +1 to my transaction list. I added this chubby dino down here, that's another $8. So the last thing that was a discrepancy was my stegos. I started with 2 stegos and I had none after my market, and I sold 1, so I must have sold the other one or it was stolen. But just to be fair, I wrote down that it was purchased, so I added another $8, and that leaves me with still a positive $20 difference, which likely means that I just missed a $20 bill when I was counting my cash box to begin with. So with that said, it's not a huge deal. It's kind of hard to determine the reason you have a positive or negative net at the end when you reconcile your cash to what you reported your cash to have been taken in. So I always try to lean on the side of it just being a mistake on my end, because I rather it be a mistake on my end than something have been stolen, especially when it's such a huge net positive difference. So a $62 difference is something that happened on my end. I forgot to record some transactions, obviously. There's no way that I left that much extra out of my total of my beginning cash box, but I can see a stray 20 like sticking to another 20 when I counted initially. Anyway, when we look at my spreadsheet again, we've got my material profit at $407.78. And then again, my true profit is always surprisingly low, but that's just because that factors in how much I'm paying myself hourly. But I never really think about that because, you know, I really enjoy crocheting. I really enjoy crocheting amigurumi, and I'm not actually paying myself to do this. I get all this money and I give it to myself. I'm not giving it to somebody else who's crocheting these things for me. So really my profit is $407.78. But this true profit still says $179.50, and that always just tells me that doing this as a full-time job and quitting the full-time job that I currently have isn't very, it's not a huge, like a good idea at this point. That just means that I'm not making enough in my profit margin to be paying myself a fair wage to be doing this full-time. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really love going to markets. I really always dread like getting there and setting up, but once I'm finally like sitting down and interacting with customers and just hanging out, I'm always like having the best time. I think it's just because I really like to see people's reaction to my work and seeing people happy with the things that I make, because really when you're just sitting at home and you're market prepping and you just have all these things in boxes that you're not going to do anything with, it feels like you're not accomplishing anything. But when you put them out on a table and people actually want to purchase them from you, it feels like you're accomplishing something, and I think that's why I enjoy doing these markets so much. So yeah, I'm just really happy that I got to go to this market. I wasn't planning on doing any over the summer. I think I was just planning to do some in the fall when it gets cooler, but it was a cheap market. It was only $30 in fees to go to this one. So it was really nice and worthwhile to go to this one. Anyway, next week's video will be a market tips video for first timers. So if you've never done a market before and are interested in learning what you need to know before you go to your first market, before you even start thinking about going to your first market, that will be the video that you'll want to watch, and I'm really excited for you guys to see it because I've been working so hard getting the information that I wish I had when I was first preparing for my market ready for you guys, so that you guys get really great information that will help you prepare for your first markets. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure you leave a thumbs up and comment down below what you are prepping for your markets, if you are prepping for a market, and I will see you guys next time in my next video. Bye!